Yo, 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 yo. What is up, everybody? Hope you had a wonderful Saturday, whether you're listening to this live on the Volume Sports YouTube channel, which if you are, what up? Shout out. Very happy to have you here on this spooky Halloween night. Go ahead and hit the like button, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. If you're listening in the future, first off, I hope the future's cool. I hope we're alive, and I hope you got good Halloween candy if you're listening on a Monday. The point is, we're live post-game Saturday, about to break down all of the day's action. And never forget, this is all brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, promo code SNAPS, and it was a good day for the boys, as if this Carolina result holds, which it absolutely should. We're looking at a 5-1 day for the Snaps boys. Let's give it up, folks. Let's go, dude. Let's fucking go. I'm your host, T-Bob Hebert, joined by your other host, Mr. Aaron Murray, QB1 of the Georgia Bulldogs. Aaron, what's up, dude?
All right, listen, I take full blame for us not going 6-0. For those who listened to our picks on Friday, I screwed up. I did not watch enough Louisville film to make a confident bet. I put my money on Wake Forest. And 8 turnovers, I believe, in the second half.
Hold on.
No.
Yeah, I got to stop you. I got to stop you on multiple fronts. First off, there's another 2-in-1 week for you. Second off, your unders continue to be the most money unders in the game. If Aaron gives you an under that he feels strong about, fucking smash it. All it does is win you money. Second week in a row, Aaron's won me a big bet. Thirdly, 8 turnovers and a half is a mathematical outlier. That never happens. You cannot count on the quality of that bet.
I think it's the whole game.
I don't care. Does not matter, dude. Outlier, that's a burn the tape game. Okay, that's a burn the tape bet. You can't take anything from it. You remain excellent. 5-1. Let's go. Oh, and look, and now everybody. Oh, Parker Horton, T-Bob, that TCU cover was BS. No way, dude. It's exactly how I knew it was going to go down. And I told you on Friday's best bet that he was going to take Morgantown into Duggantown, and that's exactly what happened. No, look, we talked about it on AMP earlier. Bottom line, just remember, our in Jesus giveth, and he taketh away. So we give thanks in the good times, but we also give thanks in the bad times. But today, he gave it in the form of a 4th down, touchdown, up 3, 40-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds left to cover. Let's go, Max Duggan! Yes, for the boys. All right. So let's start here, though, Aaron, because there is right now, House of the Dragon, great show, right? Just been an entire season doing wonderful things. Now we're set up for a dragon fight. And guess what? Next week in college football, we're set up for a battle of a couple of dragons, as Tennessee absolutely demolishes Kentucky tonight. I mean, Aaron, it's Halloween, and Tennessee looks downright spooky. They kicked Kentucky's ass. It wasn't even close. The uniforms looked incredible while doing so. Think about this, Aaron. The disparity between these two teams, and think about how extreme it was given this game. What was the final score? 44-6? At the beginning of the year, we were just talking about who was the second best team in the East. And we're like, maybe it's Tennessee, maybe it's Kentucky, South Carolina's kind of good, right? And then they come out and do this. I mean, this is the type of win that if you're a player in Kentucky, this crawls into your mind and it sits there and it either breaks you or it makes you. We'll see over time. But Tennessee, take a bow. No look ahead Louis here. I mean, they locked in and they dismantled it. They basically broke them on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. And if you're a Kentucky fan right now, even though you've had Stoops for years and you've been building positively for years, it took Josh Heupel and this hyperspeed offense 2 years to show you will never be better than them. You may catch the off year, but you will never be better than him. And you know what the salt in the wound was, Aaron? There's a video of the Tennessee basketball team getting their SEC championship trophy, and they walk it over to the Kentucky section of fans and start pointing at it and then waving bye-bye to them. So not only are they beating football like they always have, but they're even flashing their basketball balls in front of you. Just a brutal day to be a Kentucky fan, dude.
Yeah, it was bad. And I've been trying to tell people this for a few weeks now, because everyone's bitching and moaning about Tennessee's defense. Oh, Tennessee's defense is garbage. Oh, it's bad. Look at the stats. Look at the games this year, though. I mean, like, they're not that bad on defense. They've had a couple moments. I think Florida, they only gave up 21 points for the first 3 quarters of the game. A couple of one trash touchdown at the end that did make it close. Yep. Obviously, Alabama's Alabama. But, like, overall, like, this isn't a horrendous defense. And I guess we can make the comparison to LSU once again back in 2019. Like, it wasn't a terrible defense. Yes. It wasn't a great defense, but it wasn't a terrible defense. But when you pair it with that offense back in 19, and then you pair it with the offense that Tennessee has right now, it doesn't freaking matter. So for this defense being horrific, for a defense that supposedly can't stop anyone, that can't stop the pass, gave up less than 100 yards passing tonight versus Kentucky. And people are going to continue making, well, it's Kentucky. They don't throw the ball. Like, stop making excuses. This is a good football team.
No, they do throw the ball. Kentucky has won their games. Also, Kentucky has won their games throwing the ball this year. Like, they've been able to run the ball. Tennessee. Yeah, so, I mean, let's just,
Tennessee's defense is not a major weakness. I think they're getting better and better every week. I love the style of play. I love the aggression. And then when you couple the fact that this offense, I don't know how you slow it down, especially now that you had Cedric Tillman back. Like, Cedric Tillman was back first time in about a month plus, kind of got his feet wet a little bit. Jalen Hyatt, once again, goes out there, catches 2 touchdowns. Brew McCoy continues to play a big role. Hendon he is now, I think, tied for the favorite on FanDuel right now for the Heisman odds. And if he wins next week,
did he take the lead in the third quarter, Brum? Do we know? Can we get a check on that?
The odds I will double check right now.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah. No, I mean, Hendon Hooker has taken the lead. He's at plus 100.
Yeah, plus 100. CJ plus 150. Yeah, so he is now even money to win the Heisman.
Insanity. I mean, what was it, like plus 2,000 a couple of weeks ago? Looks like we might have lost Aaron for a second here. Look, I mean, we kind of told you coming into this game. Okay, you're back. Okay, what Aaron was just talking about, though, with the Tennessee defense, it's what we talked about the other day, Aaron, right? Like, it was a bit interesting because Will Levis has actually been how Kentucky's been having success, but ideally Kentucky wants to get Rodriguez going. They want to have a great run game and have Levis operate off of that run game. And we told you, Tennessee is a legitimately great run defense, holding opponents to under 3 yards a carry coming into this game. And this game's no different. I mean, they somehow hold, under 100 yards passing, which is insane, but only 107 yards rushing on the night, 3.2 yards per play for Kentucky. I think that so here's the deal with Tennessee that makes them so good is that when you combine their ability to stop teams from running the ball, which helps to stall out early drives, with their offensive ability to build up these leads, Tennessee can make you one-dimensional way earlier in the game than seemingly any other team in the country. And as soon as you enter that kind of one-dimensionality, that's when they can just start being crazy aggressive and they can just start pinning their ears back. And the DBs are improving. Like, the DBs are getting better, but they can pass rush and they get creative and they add guys and they do a lot of twists and stunts. And trust me, Aaron, I know this is cliche, but as an offensive lineman, there is no worse place to exist than when the D-line is pinning their ears back. It's just awful. It's just awful. They have no responsibilities.
When you're on the road, too. When you're on the road,
it's the worst.
In Neyland, it sucks. So, yeah, their D-line's legit, man. Like, Young coming off the edge, and you said it, man, all the twists and stunts, and they get you behind the change like they did for Kentucky over and over tonight. I do disagree. Who said it in the chat? Someone said that I think it was Parker, that Kentucky doesn't have consistency at the skill position. And I don't agree with that. I think Will Levis is a top 2 round first. He is first round talent. He doesn't play like it, but he has first round talent. You got a first round talent quarterback. You got a tremendous running back in Chris Rodriguez. I think they have good receivers. From Tavian Robinson, Baron Brown is an absolute freak. I mean, just hell of an athlete. Like they have, I think, really good skill guys. It's just their scheme it's almost similar to like A&M. And like we always bitch about A&M and how simple it is and how they don't do a lot. Kentucky's kind of the same way, man. It's old school, line up, pound the football, run it, eat up the clock, and that's how we're going to win the game. The issue this year with Kentucky is they don't have that big blue front that we're accustomed to seeing for Kentucky. It's just an average offensive line at best. They can't pass protect. They can't run protect. And if you want to run an offense that's built around running the football and play action pass off that, well, you can't really play action pass if you can't get the run game going. So this is, to me, more than anything, this is bad coordinating for Kentucky, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole when obviously your offense line is not built to be the foundation of your offense. It's your quarterback and it's your receivers, and it's getting the ball to your back in space. And they just refuse to kind of do anything different than this pro style system we see week in and week out.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting, man, because I think the great coaches, like you said, Aaron, are the ones who can develop scheme to their personnel. And what you're seeing out of Kentucky, maybe it's not an issue of can or can't. Maybe it's an issue of are they willing to or not. But they are very clearly not willing to. Like Stoops wants to build this thing in the same way that Harbaugh is building Michigan. And Michigan looked damn strong today. Me and Brum were joking about it before the show, right? Like Michigan may be the best team in the country, but they're not the best team in the country. Like they may have the actual best, like 3 phases, offensive line, defensive line. They might be the most complete, but they struggle at the one, or they don't struggle. He's pretty good, right? But we're talking about the best. Like they're limited at the one position. You cannot be limited. And they run a style that is, I think, a little more talent dependent, maybe a little more easy to potentially shut down. And so what happens though when you're Kentucky and you're trying to do that and you don't have the resources or the cachet or the recruiting of a Michigan? It's going to allow people to punch up on you, but it's also like a South Carolina, but it's also going to allow bullies to beat you down. And that's what you experienced tonight. You got beat down. And, bruh, I mean, in the Halloween unis, too. Ooh. God damn. Like, the black and orange Bobby Top Tennessee was pumped. VFL right here. Noted VFL. Can't wait to bury the dogs next week. Maybe we make a Halloween weekends 2 weeks in a row. You know what I'm saying? But Ugga in the dirt is coming, man. Anyway, I'm very excited for next week, Aaron Murray. Me and the rest of my Tennessee boys, we ready to invade Sanford Stadium, come out with that dub.
Hey, I want to hold off on anything right now for that game. I will say this, as we, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about rankings heading into the first release of the playoffs, but like name one resume that's better than Tennessee's right now. There isn't from what LSU is and how good they've looked. They embarrassed them there in Baton Rouge. They beat Alabama. They beat Kentucky. They beat a ranked Pittsburgh. I mean, they beat a ranked Florida. They have 5 ranked wins this season right now. I think that has to be the most in the country. 5 ranked wins. They're undefeated. They have the best offense in the country. It's hard for me right now, and if I'm in the committee, to honestly say, why doesn't this team deserve to be the number 1 team in the country when these rankings come out on Tuesday?
Well, because ultimately, right, Aaron, the AP is a system where we rarely reward. I'm
not talking about the AP. I'm talking about the playoff. This is the first playoff.
Oh, you're talking about the playoff. Okay, first playoff. First playoff. I think Tennessee probably will be number 1. Yes, I think it's about AP, right? Because in the AP, we don't reward winning like we do, like we punish losing, right? So like, Georgia, because Georgia, and we'll talk about Georgia right now. Like Georgia looked great today. They kicked Florida's ass for 85% of that game and made it look easy. So like we'll talk about Georgia, and so you're not going to bump them down. But no, with the playoff and also the playoff loves to generate a little buzz, right? I mean, let's be honest, it's a TV show. And then they also, they know that Georgia and Tennessee are going to play that week. So it would not surprise me at all if Tennessee, actually, no, not surprised, because that's like the weakest possible take you can make. I was joking about that on my show this week. If you say, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, what are you telling me? All you're saying, you're just covering both bases. You're just trying to sit the fence and then say I was right if your thing comes true. Like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if LSU beat Alabama. Well, what? I mean, take a fucking anyway. I think you're right. I think that Tennessee will be number one in this first playoff, and they should be, but they still got to go to Sanford. And Georgia looked good today. I mean, Florida, Georgia, world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And the Dogs take him down 42-20. Aaron, you gonna bark a little bit? How you feeling?
Well, first off, you have 1 year. I said early on our show on AMP after the 3:30 games, you have a year to continue to practice Georgia versus Florida, since
I forgot, dude.
You're an outsider. Outsiders, kind of their rule is you pronounce it based on the team that won. So Georgia keeps the naming rights for a second straight year. Actually, it's like a third, fourth, fifth straight year. But anyways, no, they look good. Besides the third quarter, it was Stetson at times Stetson was trying to be Josh Allen a couple times, trying to throw balls down the field without putting much air on it. He got lucky with one to Bowers where, the defender was in the perfect spot, ends up popping it up. Bowers is Bowers and makes a hell of a catch and turns into a touchdown. Next time he tries to do it, it ends up being an interception. Like, I love – it's a fine line, because last year Stetson was ballsy and gutsy and daring and willing to take chances. And I thought, he got in trouble at times, but he also played great. And then this time, at times this year, I felt like Stetson was playing a little bit too cautious, where he was afraid to make the mistake. He talked about, hey, I'm going to take care of the football a little bit better this year. And we've seen him, I would say, be a little bit inaccurate at times, ball sailing, not following through, not committing to his throws. And I was like, okay, don't rear back that much, Stetson. Don't become too conservative, because that's your personality, is being that go-getter, that gunslinger, that Brett Favre mentality. But today he just went a little bit too far. So he needs to find a little bit of the in-between, and I think he'll be just fine, because I've said it before, plenty of arm strength, can make all the throws you want, mobile, all that good stuff, but you're not Josh Allen. You aren't Brett Favre. You can't gun a ball 25, 30 yards down the field on an absolute rope and think that you're going to complete passes. But overall, great game, great job running, which we knew they could do. Florida's D-line is, one of the worst in the SEC. They got after him, 239 rushing yards. I thought Kenny looked great besides the fumble. Brock looked great. Ladd looked great. Darnell looked great. And then the defense was tremendous. It was great to get Jalen back incorporated, and you saw him getting after the quarterback. So really, really great game. Good job. And neither team was really, I don't think you could say either team was looking ahead to next weekend's matchup in Athens.
So what you're telling me is Stetson was maybe a bit too Staquavius tonight. And on the scale of Stetson, the scale of Stetson to Staquavius, you need him leaning Staquavius, but not full Staquavius. So here's my question to you, though, Aaron, because you're right. Georgia ran the ball fantastically tonight. I think almost 200-yard rushers on like limited carries, too. I mean, we're talking like 7-8 yards a carry. You're not going to do that against Tennessee. We know that. Now, I'm not saying Tennessee's going to shut you down like they have other rushing attacks. I think the truth is going to be in the middle, but you're not going to run all over Tennessee. And so the question then becomes, can Staquavius overcome Tennessee? Can Staquavius keep up with Hendon Hooker?
You need AD. I think at the end of the day, you need AD Mitchell out there. I was hoping that he would get out there today to start getting some reps and get his feet wet and get incorporated back into the offense. So I'm guessing they felt comfortable that, hey, we're going to take care of business for Florida. Let's make sure he's 100% for what could be a track meet next week in the Classic City. But I think if he is playing, I think that gives me more confidence that, yes, they can go toe-to-toe if it does get a little bit wild. But I still don't have confidence right now. And it was kind of my same feeling last year when Georgia played Alabama, where I do think Georgia's offense is better this year. If this thing does turn into a track meet where the game's in the I would even say maybe north of 35, but definitely if it's flirting with 40 plus points, Georgia's not going to win that type of game. They're not. Georgia is still a team that's going to have to rely on great defense and really good offense. Not elite offense. They're not elite in that area. They're very, very good. They are a top 3 or 4 offense in the SEC, but you're talking about the best offense in the country, not just in your conference, the best offense in the country in Tennessee. So defensively they're going to have to keep the game, I would say, into the low 30s, and would be great to keep it in the 20s if you can, just to give your offense a little bit of help.
There's no way.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm a little bit nervous for it.
If you hold this Tennessee team in the 20s, you should get some sort of trophy. I don't know if it's the SEC championship trophy, but just at the end of the game, they should give you some sort of prize. Or if this was a video game, you would get an achievement, and it would be an ultra rare one that nobody else had gotten. Well, all I know, Aaron, is that Georgia come out to play. It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a fun week getting ready for little Athens. Now this is true though. Tennessee, every big stage. I mean, I guess they went to the Swamp, right? But these last couple big stages, it's been in Knoxville. And Knoxville is not just
LSU. They went to Baton Rouge and beat the living shit out of you guys. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess I forgot about that. Yeah. But LSU's not LSU is scrappy and good. They are not great, right? Tennessee is working towards greatness. Georgia is great. My point is, when they played greatness, they got it in Knoxville. Okay, now they got to go take on greatness on the road, and that is something different. We'll see if they're ready for that. But it is going to be
Jalen has to be healthy. If I feel a lot better about Georgia's defense slowing down, Tennessee, if Jalen is 100% at D-line, because he is. He's going to be the number 1 defensive tackle picked in the NFL draft next year. He's probably going to be a top 3 pick in the draft overall. He is a difference maker. And if you want to be able to play coverage, play 2 high safeties, which you're going to need to do versus Tennessee, and still be able to stop, Jabari Small and Hendon from running, you're going to need Jalen disrupting the offensive line, disrupting the timing from Hendon. That's the key. And that's the one area that Georgia's not been great at this year with Jalen out. They only have 7 sacks. They have not been getting after the quarterback. So if he is not full go next week, that's an issue.
Bama Boy Gump in the chat says LSU's not winning the West. I fucking hope they're not winning the West, Bama Boy Gump. You're never fucking hear the end of it if they do. Just fucking wait to come next week, dude. Anyway, up north we go. As it's been a very SEC-centric show thus far, setting up the heavyweight matchup next week. But the other heavyweight in all of this is Ohio State, right? Ohio State today goes and takes care of business 44-31. That's what they always do against Penn State. I think they've won the last 4 years by 13, 9, 11, now 13 again. That's 10 of the last 11 for the Buckeyes. Penn State played well in a lot of ways, Aaron, but ultimately, if you are trying to affect an upset against C.J. Stroud and maybe the best team in the country, you can't lose to turnover battle 4-0, right?
No.
I mean, that just is what it is.
Well, Ohio State scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a ball game. I mean, we're in the third quarter, and Penn State's winning. Ohio State takes the lead. They go up 16-14. You're like, man, this is not the kind of game that we were expecting. Then all of a sudden, turnovers, pick six, fumbles, and then you do enough of that, Ohio State's going to get right on offense. And you made fun of me last week because I said this about Ohio State, how they took care of business defensively versus Iowa. And you kind of chuckled, and I think a lot of people probably feel that way. But they did what they were supposed to do against a really bad offense. They only gave up 3 points. That 7 points was a fumble from C.J. Stroud that Iowa turned into a touchdown. They won today because of their defense on the road. Those turnovers, the pick sixes, the fumbles, all that, like they dominated on that side of the football as the offense kind of figured itself out there in the fourth quarter. And to me, that's, if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm excited as hell because this offense is going to be great. They are still one of the best offenses in the country. You got CJ, you got Henderson. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been absolutely dominant this entire season, 10 catches, 185 yards in this game. Just imagine when you get Smith and Jigba back inserted into that offense, how much better they're going to be. he is still the best receiver in college football that has barely played the season. So to know that your defense can win games and you're still missing that on offense, that is scary. But I give Penn State props, man. The fans were great. The atmosphere was great. They made an interesting game. And for those betting, they covered. So that's a positive too. At least you covered at home.
Okay, so here's my only problem with the Ohio State defense. Yes, they won them the game with the turnovers. I'm always worried about turnovers being replicable, right? Because it's also what Sean Clifford has kind of always been prone to do. He's make a lot of huge plays that will put you into games. Maybe some of the mistakes are going to lose them. And today, I mean, look, Clifford ends up, 32 of 47, 371, three touchdowns. Great. But then 3 picks. And here's where maybe the Penn State's offense, I mean, look, Penn State absolutely dominated Auburn, a team that's been, I guess, kind of fighty, if nothing. Here's the deal. I know Penn State is good, but is this a red flag that Penn State today outgained Ohio State by 30? They had more first downs. They held Ohio State under 100 rush yards. C.J. Stroud only accounted for 1 touchdown. They held Ohio State to just 33% conversions on third down. Penn State 1 time of possession, but they lost the game by 13. So I think like there's one of 2 ways you could take that, right? Like you can be like, oh my God, Ohio State must be incredible. Like how could they all that happen? They still win by double digits. Or is it like, man, if Ohio State didn't get a couple of those turnovers, like were they going to be in trouble today? Like do you feel better or worse about Ohio State, Michigan after the 2 games today? Do you feel better or worse about Ohio State's chances against Michigan, Aaron?
I feel better about Michigan's chances against Ohio State. I guess I'll flip the other way around.
Yeah,
that's how I'll phrase it. Because they what we've seen, and we talked about this past week on the show, is like, what's the recipe to beat Ohio State? It's you have to run the football, you have to dominate the line of scrimmage, and you have to make them one-dimensional. And that's what happened last year versus Oregon. That's what happened last year versus Michigan. And you look at Ohio State the past 2 weeks, and maybe why you've seen a little bit of struggles, at least early on in games, is they haven't hit 100 yards back-to-back games rushing the football. And that teams have forced them to be a little bit more one-dimensional. So you look at what Michigan's done this year, they're doing a great job stopping the run. They're running the hell of the ball with JJ and Corum back there. They got a great offensive line. They got a great defensive line. So yeah, like right now, the model is somewhat being proven. And yes, Ohio State won today, but you kind of saw a glimpse of, okay, Michigan dominated Penn State. Michigan is that next step. And if Penn State can make it somewhat competitive, and if Penn State can make Ohio State one-dimensional, Michigan could clearly do that as well. So, the one difference between last year and this year is it's in Ohio State and it's not there at Michigan. We're seeing it this year more than ever. Like home field advantage. You just talked about Tennessee playing at home. Home field advantage is gigantic. Michigan dominated Penn State at home. Penn State played a great game today versus Ohio State for 3 quarters at home. Tennessee beat Alabama at home. Home field advantage is huge in college football. So the fact that it's in Ohio State gives me a little bit more comfort if I was a Buckeye fan. But no, like the recipe is definitely there, and what Michigan does could allow them to win that game here at the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm with you. At the end of the day, it sounds weird, right? How does a ranked Michigan beat a ranked Penn State by 13? And I'm giving more credit to Michigan dismantling a very bad Michigan State team, but I'm right there with you. Side note, before we get to A&M, where it's a bad time being an A&M fan. Aaron, how would you be feeling if you were a Michigan State fan right now? It's also not great, dude. I mean, I would not be going full panic button. Like I would, I'm sure if I loved the team or I covered the team, I would have plenty of well-reasoned arguments and here's, if you really look at it, right, these are the issues plaguing the team, and these are things that can be solved, and quite honestly, many phases of the program are moving in the correct direction, but you would have to really strive for these arguments. Like they do not present themselves. It's a real, and then you see all these charts and it's like most guaranteed money, and it's like Kirby Smart and Brian Kelly, and it's like Mel Tucker and everybody down, and we got the contract in the first place. I just can't imagine a worse post-contract year than what Mel Tucker's currently going through right now.
This is why universities are just throwing money away. This is why we should not be giving these coaches 7, 8, 9, 10-year contracts. Like,
so are you out on Mel Tucker long term? Like, do you think he gets this thing fixed?
No, I'm not out on him long term. I think give him time. Like, I don't want to rush it. Like, I don't want to rush this either. But just at least if you gave someone I would say 4 years should be the length of the contract. I don't like getting rid of a coach after 3 years. I think you need to get to a 4-year guy, get through a complete cycle of recruiting before you really determine, okay, is this the guy the best fit for us or not? But so he still has some time to kind of figure it out. So no, I'm not stressing too much about it at the moment. The one thing that does worry, it should always worry you if you're Michigan State in that conference, is kind of like what we discussed with Kentucky, is the fact that you are in the Big Ten and you're in the East, and you have to deal with Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland's having a good year, and these schools recruit at a higher clip than you do. So it's just the separation of talent's already there, and if the coach is not equaling that separation, then you're in deep doo-doo.
Yeah, now I agree. I think I think Michigan State can recruit maybe like to that level, but I don't know. Mel Tucker's it's an awful year. And maybe he was ahead of the curve with the transfer portal at a time, but everybody has copied and or also now arrived at the same place that he did, which was, we need like a full staff committed to it now 24/7. Can Michigan State? Well, it remains to be seen with Mel Tucker, but not a great feeling today, Halloween, in East Lansing. Not a great feeling today, Halloween, in College Station, as Ole Miss goes into Texas A&M. Well, final score 31-28. I did not write this one down. I believe that was it, right? 31-28, am I correct? Okay, just double checking there. And really, again, kind of not that close, right? Shout out to Vegas, who somehow always ends up in the range. But really, A&M, that game kind of felt like it was over. Now, credit A&M. They were down 10. They managed to score with 3 timeouts and about a minute and a half left. They sign of a bad coach team. The kicker goes rogue and doesn't onside kick it. When they're trying to get the ball back. Instead decides to kick it deep. Jimbo and the special teams coach are chewing his ass out. Then you're like, oh, wait, did this work out? Because they stop him 3 and out. They use the 3 timeouts, but then more bad special teams. They allow to punt the roll. It rolls all the way down within the 10, and the game finally ends. But another loss for Texas A&M at home this time in front of that crowd. And Ole Miss kind of stabilizes. So is this, Aaron, classic sports talk, is this a better win for Ole Miss or a worse loss for Texas A&M?
Oh, I think it's a better win for Ole Miss. I think it's a huge win for Ole Miss, because I think A&M right now, I think people kind of feel like that ship has sailed for this season. So if you're Ole Miss, you're still 7-1 for goodness sakes. If you would have lost this game to a team that's kind of not going to make a bowl game, then that's not what you want. So yeah, I think this was more pivotal for Ole Miss to kind of get the ship righted. And I'll just look at the schedule now. Ole Miss hasn't even had a bye week. Like they've just been grinding. So now they're 8-1, which is a hell of a record. They get to go into a bye week before they have to face, I believe it's Alabama, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So, can they? I don't think they're going to beat Alabama. I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know. Maybe Alabama gets beat up a little bit by LSU next weekend as Ole Miss is kind of relaxing, taking the weekend off. But I think they have a chance versus Arkansas, and I think they have a legitimate chance versus Mississippi State as well. So could you get back-to-back seasons for 10 wins for Ole Miss? It's right there for the taking. But I will say that would be such an accomplishment for Lang. Yeah, it's huge. The one positive for A&M is you finally have a quarterback. Like, where the hell has Connor Wegman been this entire season? Like, he came out there for a freshman, looked composed. He looked calm. He got through his reads. He was accurate. The connection with him and Evan Stewart was tremendous, especially early on. The game kind of died out middle, and then they kind of reconnected later on once again. But, like, he looked really good. really, really good. So you got a quarterback now. I think that's been one of the big issues for A&M is you haven't had a gunslinger back there to run this offense. So that's a positive, but the negative is that's your 4 straight loss. That's 4 straight. And that
is it
window to make a
4
bowl game is
straight?
dwindling.
Ooh.
4 straight.
Oh, please. 4 straight. Ugh, boy, hate to see it. Sorry, A&M. God, it really bums me out to hear that. No, look, okay, here's where I'm at with Wigman. I don't think that tonight was necessarily especially better than the other guys we've seen this year, but to your point, he performed at the level or better, right, than the other guys did. And if he's a true freshman doing that, obviously you have to roll with him, right? Like he's the only guy. I agree with you, and like he at least flashed at times, like, oh, there's something exciting here, rather than just being very run of the mill boring. How rough for Max Johnson, Aaron, right?
Oh,
I mean, you choose to leave and go to A&M. You think you're going to get out of a toxic because Max Johnson went through the toxic ringer at LSU. He had to deal with 2 years of like, just drama. People pissed off because you're losing under 500 ball. Your coach is in the headline, just drama. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go to A&M. The vibes seem great over there. And then he gets over there, and it's been the most toxic program in all of America all year long. And now Brian Kelly's coming out. It's a rough spot for Max. But I will say this. A&M was kind of lively early in this game, right? They went up 14-7.
They're winning.
Freshman to freshman connection. That's what I'm saying. You're kind of like, oh, shit, dude, is this it? But here's what I want to say about Texas A&M. A lot of times the announcers always talk about their freshman class, right? And be like, yeah, they signed the best freshman class of all time, but they're 18. So, you got to wait for them to get better. And that is true, but that's not why people were high on A&M. That was a feather in the cap, the freshman class was. Why they were high on A&M is because in 2020, they went 9-1 during the pandemic and kicked everybody's ass. In 2022, they may be disappointed overall, but they found a way to beat Alabama. They've stacked top 5 classes for 4 or 5 years in a row now. Like it wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden A&M's going to be good because they got a bunch of good freshmen. It was just, oh, A&M's already getting really good, and now they got these freshmen. But the problem is A&M's not getting that good. 2020 looks like a flash in the pan. Alabama looks like its own flash in the pan. And now everything just feels really bad. And they're not getting rid of Jimbo. Pete Thamel talked about it. That's not happening. So it's the coordinators are going to get fired. Like everybody else is going to get fired except for Jimbo. And that's do
they win their next 3 games? Do they Florida, at Auburn, UMass, and then LSU? Do they win their next 3?
I don't think they win both Florida and at Auburn. I think one of those teams will beat them. I don't know which one, but I don't think they can do that. And yes, Brandon Reese, we have stopped calling it. We already stopped on this show, but we must acknowledge reality. And Jimbo was a quarterback whisperer, right? Turned in first overall pick in Jameis Winston, multiple first round picks and Ponder and EJ Manuel back in the day. But we have a very large sample size now of that no longer being the case. Like the best quarterback he's had in like the last 10 years was Kellen Mond, who is, was solid. Average. But I don't know now, especially that Jimbo did really anything to elevate him. Like Kellen Mond, honestly, would have been better in a different offense with a different coordinator, different coach. So it's rough. B Bean says, "What about LSU? How about A&M beat LSU?" LSU still. I know they've been playing consistently lately. Yeah, no, fuck that, dude. No, LSU has to beat A&M. If LSU doesn't beat A&M, that's a very bad outcome.
I think it's at LSU too. Am I correct on that one? I want to say it's in Baton Rouge.
I should know that off the top of my head.
On the road in College Station.
Okay, never mind. Oh, wrong.
Wait, is this the first time in College Station since the? I think it is because maybe with crowd because of the pandemic. I'm not entirely sure, but of course in 2018 there was the 7 overtime game.
Oh yeah,
the Kellen Mond and A&M one that was.
I heard that's such a huge rivalry. A&M LSU is like this big rivalry. Am I correct on that one, T-Bob?
Are you being sarcastic here, or is this a genuine question?
No, I'm somewhat sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly. I could see it in your.
Who wants to make
I
it
could see it in
more?
your
A&M
dazzling,
does.
beautiful, shit-eating grin. No. Here's what I would say is that I think me and Brum might have talked about this in like a production meeting one day. A&M LSU is a giant corporate success story and marketing success story in that they created this. Now, the people will point to like back in the day, A&M LSU did used to play and stuff, and there was a little bit of juice there. But they basically created this rivalry a few years ago, and they said, you know what? This is going to be the Thanksgiving Day game. And it gained juice faster than anyone could have imagined. I mean, I remember having conversations about, is this forced? Is this fake? But then it was just drama year after year. It was both teams going after Jimbo. It was John Chavis leaving LSU, going to A&M and suing LSU. It was the 7 overtime game. Like, LSU fans hate Texas A&M. Every single day on my morning show, it's just constant Jimbo jokes, Texas 8-4 jokes. They loathe Texas A&M, and it's not forced. Now, I'm not saying I would not put this up against any of the great rivalries because, you know me, I value history over all of it when it comes to these things, and this is a new one. This was microwaved, but for the people in it, it is legitimate. Like LSU fans legitimately, and look, Houston is the big A&M fan base. Houston is also the single largest LSU alumni city fan base. So there is actual juice here for the people in it. Shouldn't get national juice. Completely understand that. But for the people in it, this sounds wild because I love the Golden Boot. I would rather lose to Arkansas and beat Texas A&M than the other way around.
Wow. Like that?
I know.
All right. Okay.
I know, and it's insane. I grew up hating Arkansas.
I know.
I know.
All right. Well, other big
we
game.
Gotta go.
We got to go. But Kansas State, just FYI for those Kansas State fans out there,
oh,
complete ass whooping for Oklahoma State. My goodness. Hey, I told you guys Oklahoma State's frauds. I tell you weeks ago.
You did.
Oklahoma
State, you tried to tell me. I didn't believe you.
9-3, maybe 10-2 football team. Best they could do.
You tried to tell me. Yeah, you tried to tell me, and I didn't listen to you, Aaron. I should. One thing we mentioned in the other show we mentioned here, Bo Nix went off. Maybe the nation's leader in total touchdowns. We'll see come Sunday, but they beat Cal 42-40. Aaron, how about these last 3 games for Oregon? At Colorado, nothing, but then versus Washington, versus Utah, in Corvallis against Oregon State. If they finish that off, they'll be like, that is a team that will be playing very good football heading into a Pac-12 championship.
Yep. Really, really good. Like the schedule lines up nicely. USC had some struggles tonight versus Arizona. Did not look great. I think that to me, it's going to be a rematch against UCLA. And, it's always hard to beat someone twice in the season. So we'll see. But
a rematch against UCLA, huh?
Who else you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, man. You got Caleb Williams out there, okay, man? I mean, Oregon and USC don't play. I mean, USC's right there. What are you saying? What are you saying about SC, Aaron? They used to be us, the petite Trojan boys. Yeah, what are you saying? Just say it then.
That UCLA is going to beat their ass.
Shit.
What's UCLA score right now?
Okay.
What's UCLA up right at the moment?
Okay.
UCLA 24-6 against Stanford. Knew I should have put some damn money on that one.
Law of transitive sports properties.
Big
Aaron.
this weekend, T-Bob.
On UCLA.
5-1. I think I was on
5-1.
my bets overall. I was like 7-9 on my bets this weekend. So we're eating good tomorrow night.
You did great, Aaron. Thank you for that under.
You did very good.
All right. 3-0. Hey, the boys 12-15. Never been so excited to be 12-15 in my fucking life. Let's ride, boys. Huge thank you to everyone. Okay, relax. Okay, we get it. Huge thank you to everyone in the chat hanging out with us tonight. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday night. I know we are. And check this out. So we're going to be back live with Snaps on Monday. We go live on AMP now. So Amazon AMP, download the app. It's like new Jeff Bezos radio. And we go live at noon Central, 1 Eastern every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And And then, as always, check us out on the Volume Sports YouTube channel where you're watching us right now. Look, if you like the post, that helps a lot. I know it's annoying. You know what else really helps? If you subscribe to the podcast, and wherever you do, if you rate it and review it, the robots are like, whoa, dude, people like this. They're going to send it out to more people. And you can also text it to your friends and help make Papa Colin and FanDuel and everybody else very happy with us. We would love you if you could help us out with that. And, shout out FanDuel promo code SNAPS when you download the Sportsbook app, and then listen to our bets. And, sometimes you'll win money. Like today, you would have won good money. Aaron won great money today. So let's freaking run, dude. And guess what, guys? It's a big Snaps week. I mean, are you kidding me? LSU, Bama, Georgia, Tennessee. Like, these are the weeks. Like, this is why I crawled out of my dad's balls 33 years ago. Were to experience weeks of football like this, okay? And so we're going to do it together. I'm very excited, Aaron. I'm very excited, bro. I'm very excited to all of our wonderful friends we hang out with every day here. Let's freaking go, boys. We'll see you for Snaps on Monday.